Because in trading, man, I'm sure that you guys have heard this before. People say that trading is 80% psychology, 20% skill. I kind of have a different belief to this. I think it's 80% system, 20% psychology, because most of the psychology that you need is covered in a system already. Like your system tells you when to buy, when to sell, what to do. The psychology only comes in when you start thinking. So yourself, you are not a problem up until you start thinking. So when you start, thinking before you execute a trade, before you get in a trade or you get out of trade, that becomes a problem. And I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Every single time when you have gone through some pain in your trading or one of the bad trading days, just think about it. Try to look back. Has it always been the days when you were making quick decisions, jumping in a play, or was it like when you were thinking and trying to find the play so you can come out green on the day? So you're overthinking on that day. You're like, oh, maybe I should jump in here. Oh, this looks A plus. Was it those days that were big reds, or was it the days where you're like, oh, this looks good. You know what? I'm jumping in. I'm in. I'm out. Beautiful. So it's always the days when you overthink is the days where you're gonna always lose. So now we know that overthinking is what causes us to lose. I want you to stay busy during the trading hours. So how can you stay busy? If you learn how to stay busy during the market open, your game becomes easy. So there's multiple ways you can stay busy. One is you play start playing chess on your phone while you're waiting for a play. All right, literally start playing chess. Um, Download the app chess and I play chess. Second is you watch a show, like literally watch some show. Put an iPad next to you, watch some show. All right. Or if you are if you're in my Discord or my student, I'm the show. Like we keep the fun vibe going and we just like keep the fun stuff going so it doesn't get too bad. But even me today, I lost 41.91. Now, am I upset about me taking a loss? Yeah, a little bit of my psychology was in there, a little bit with some personal stuff going on. But that does not mean I let my winners are like 20K, 25K, right? My losers, I figured out the problem is when you do not know when to walk away. The problem is when you're trying to fix something which can't be fixed, and the easiest thing to do is walking away. So this is a journey of a trader who has a problem with psychology. So he will make money. This is him. Equity curves going up, and then so eventually you kind of say roughly around here, and that's where you go, oh my God, man, it's been so long. Every time I try to bring myself up, I fall. And that usually happens around, I don't know if you guys ever experience this, that usually happens around when you're trading account, let's say you started with 2K and you slowly brought it up to 5K. And every time it's near 5K, you take a loss. Anybody can relate to this? Every time it's like to at a certain number, certain psychology number, you take a loss. So it always feels like, oh man, I can't get over this hurdle. This is like has become a bottleneck. This was my case back in the day. And I heard somebody tell me this. He goes, okay, so this is the number that you want to get above, let's say 5,000. Every time you get there, you take a loss. So this is what you're going to do. The moment you get to a number closer, like close to it, add a few $100 in it. Just add some money so you're over that hurdle. All right. Now, psychologically, the hurdle's not even a hurdle. You're over the number. Does that make sense? You're above the number, and that exactly what happened with me. I think I was like at $10,000 my trading account at that stage, and I added some money. I'm over 10,000, and I'm like, oh sweet, and the journey keeps going. So every single time I have felt like, oh, there's a certain number that has always like is trying to be a bottleneck for me, I'll add money. That's easy ways to get above the hurdle. It's just like, trying to trick your brain. So let's go over some of the Q&A for you guys. The first question, it's actually interesting question. How do you know when to walk away for the day? Um, oh, all right. The easy thing, there's a couple ways to answer this. One of the easiest ways to answer it is have a walkaway limit. Like let's say your walkaway limit with 3K, and the moment your 3K hits, you walk away. But it's super difficult. Oh my God, that's difficult. It's difficult because now you're constantly checking how much you're down on the day. Now you're going and checking how much you're down on the day, and then you're trying to fix it because you're like, oh my God, I'm down 2,800. If I'm down 3,000, I have to walk away. That means you're addicted to trading. Now you're like, oh my God, I'm close, but let me take this trade. And if it worked out, I might end up green, or you take play just to come green, or just to, go away from your walkaway limit. And then even if you take the next trade and now you're down 3,200, now it's over the limit, and now you're trading your P&L. You're like, oh my God, man, I lost too much money. This is not originally planned was. So when you're looking at the P&L, super tough, but that's what most of the people are going to tell you. The second thing you can do is, which I absolutely love and I do it, and you guys see me do this, is my first trade of the day is always a small position size. This is the bell curve that I follow. First trade of the day, small position size. But if I have my first trade of the day red, my second trade becomes same position or even smaller position size compared to the first one. Up until I set up the tone for the day that comes me makes me green. So it's not the trade that makes you green, it's the mindset. It's just because at the end of the day, think about it. Has it ever happened to you where everybody's talking about, oh my God, market's so choppy, but you sitting there, you're like, the heck are you guys on about? I'm having the best trading day of my life. It's not choppy. So when that happens, does that tell you that it's not the market that you trade, it's you yourself, your psychology, your mindset that you trade? Because it's the same candlesticks that are watched by people who lose money every day. It's the same candlesticks that are watched by people who make money every day. So at the end of the day, it's not the candlesticks, it's not the charts that make you money, it's the psychology that makes you money, right? So now, what should you do instead? First trade of the day, whatever position size you take, second trade, bring it down. So now it might be like, oh, like good question. So you do two contracts. Do you go back to one? I never say do one. But what you can do instead is, so if you're trading at the money, you can go one out of the money, like the next contract, but still two contracts if you're gonna do it. If because right now your goal when you like first trade is red. Like for me, I took three trades and my three trades were red. So my first trade, okay, second trade a little bit less, third trade a little bit less. This was how I was trading. All right. So moment I have three losing trades in a row. Okay, once three strikes. Three strikes. The moment I have three losing trades in a row, that's when I know I need to walk away. I walk away. And the best thing, bro, when do you know when to walk away? The best thing is every single time I have not walked away after my three losses, you know what happens? The pain of me not walking away, I lose so much freaking money. I remember the pain. I know how bad it hurts me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, in every way possible. I know how bad it hurts me every time I break this rule. I don't want to go through that pain again. So I'm like, you know what, man? I'd rather walk away with whatever I'm down. I don't know what I'm down because I'm not looking at my P&L. I'd rather walk away with this than walking away and feeling the feelings that I felt last time. So this is why I think traders who have been trading for a while, you guys are like, every time you broke your rule of staying on the computer and trying to fix the mistake, which could have been just, let me just walk away. Um, how bad that pain is. So in my brain, I just don't want to go through that pain again. So three trades, first trade, loser, second smaller, third smaller. Sometimes I'm like having a winning day. So it's like I'm like up 5K on the day already. Let's say, for example, I'm winning already, and then I have a losing trade, losing trade, losing trade. I walk away. So at any time I have three consecutive loss, 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 I walk away. So be it you up having the best trading day, or be it whatever. Because if you have three losing trades, man, that means there's something that's going on in your brain that shouldn't be going on. So you identify it and you fix it. All right. That's literally it. If you try to look at P&L, man, it's super tough. And then comes how to respect your stop loss. Oh my God. Having a stop loss and actually respecting a stop loss, they're two very different things. So if you're telling yourself, if the price, if you, let's say, if you're entering here and you're like, okay, my stop loss is this, and you're waiting for the candle to go down, you jump in, and the price comes back and hits your stop loss, but there is This usually happens when you have too many levels or too many indicators on, right? This problem usually going to happen when you have too much going on your charts. Why? Because people watch different time frames. They're like, but on a 5 minute chart, even if they're trading on a 2 minute chart, yo, but they go, but on a 5 minute chart, there is a 200 moving average. On a 10 minute chart, there is this fucking this level setting up. Um, so you start looking for reasons to stay in a trade, the trade that you originally took on certain time frame where where your stop loss was. Now you start looking for confirmation, like it's called confirmation bias, right? You start looking for confirmation just because you want to stay in a trade. That's like people going in a toxic relationships. You ignore all 10 bad things, but you just stay in because it's not too bad. So you start looking for reasons to make yourself like this. Is what happens with some people reach it. So many people reaching out to my other students, asking them about, hey man, do you recommend KCU? Hey man, do you recommend KCU? Should I do KCU? Is it legit? Is it da da da? It's what is it? They're gonna text 50 people, and out of 50 people, they're gonna be one hater who's gonna be like, hey man, I did it. And even though he didn't, like, oh yeah, I did it. It's not good enough. Oh, thank God. It's like, oh, so you hear what you want to hear. And that stop loss problem is usually when you start seeing what you want to see. So it goes, oh, this is my stop loss. But then you're like, all right, you know what? Let's see if the price can hold. Now, price is above it. Price is holding. Oh, but there's a VWAP running here. Let me see if the VWAP can hold. And then the VWAP comes. Oh, but there's a level here. Maybe it will reject at the level. And then the level comes. Then you're like, oh, but there is 200 moving average on a 5 minute chart setting up. Maybe I'll see if that holds. By the time you all do this, so your stop loss literally went from here, from your entry point, your stop loss was 30 cents, but now your stop loss is 60 cents, whereas your reward was like, let's say 40 cents. That means even if this trade worked, I mean, you risked probably 40% of the option contract to make 10%. Is that a good trade? No. So why, oh, how can you respect your stop loss? Have less levels, literally less levels, one, less indicators, and stick to the time frame that you're trading so you do not try to look for reasons to stay in a trade. That means from 9:30 to 10, only stick to 2 minute chart, nothing else. From 10 to 11, only stay a 5 minute chart, nothing else. From 11 to onwards, stay a 10 minute chart, nothing else. Does that make sense to everybody? This will help you not only with controlling your mindset, man, but this is the only reason why you're not able to respect your stop losses. Because there's too many levels, there's too much fucking going on your charts, and it's confusing you to a point where you're like, oh man, I don't know, I don't know if I should do this. See what I'm saying? Because you're not scared of the loss. You're scared of what will happen if you take the loss and then the trade goes. That's what you're scared of. That's why you're holding the trade. If I sell, will the trade just go in my direction again? And then I'll be like, oh man, I should not have taken a loss. That's what you're worried about. But in reality, I just want you to remember you can all, as a day trader, the position size that you're doing, 2 contracts, 10 contracts, 50 contracts, the position size that you're doing, you need to embrace this and be like, I can always jump back in later. So you know what? Hit my stop loss. Sweet. If it goes in my direction, I'll jump back in later. So what's the loss? Nothing. But if you're staying in this trade, there's big, big, big risk that you're putting on. You see what I'm saying? He said Jay Lee said one of the biggest thing that helped me respecting my stop loss was you saying either make a plan or follow. That's it. You either because at the end of the day, every single person here, you're gonna follow a system. You either follow your own system or you follow someone else's system. So now choice is, do you want to give yourself a system and follow that, or you want to have a boss telling you his system, then he makes you follow it because otherwise he fires your ass. So which one? Debate, debate. I read nah, bro. I can't. I can't. Physically, I can't. Even mentally, I can't. I can't listen to orders. So yeah. Karthik, you missed a trade. How do you deal with staying calm and not doing anything rash or forced trade in FOMO? With great difficulty. Sometimes, sometimes when I'm like, oh my god, look at the Microsoft. Did anybody catch it? And people are like, oh, I caught Microsoft. I'm sitting here, I'm like this. Warrior. Like I'm like, roaring in silence. I'm like, motherfuckers, I missed it. Um, but it's at the end of the day, man, you know what I think about? I don't think about like FOMO. I think about this is the mental thing that has shifted in my brain. I think about there's so much food on the table. You can eat it all. You can eat it all. But you know what's gonna happen? That's probably about 10,000 calories, let's say. You know what's gonna happen if you do 10,000 calories every day? You're gonna be a what's the word so I don't offend anybody? Um you're gonna be a fat fuck. All right. So it's not the best way to go. So what you can do instead is just okay, I can only eat this much. That's the only thing I can eat. Let's let me have other people eat the food. So you think about, all right, you know what? I can only eat this. Rather than wasting, I'm happy that other people are able to catch the move. So the thing that shifted in my brain was when I miss a trade, um, how do I stay calm? I'm like, I'm happy for everybody making money. Like that's the only thing you can do. I think about, oh, other people are printing money. Sweet. My time will come. Sweet. I missed a trade. Why did I miss a trade? Then comes your journaling. Why did you miss a trade? And that's what I do. I write down on a piece. Literally, today I missed a trade, the Microsoft trade. I wrote down the Microsoft trade and I missed the trade. So I wrote down the timing and everything. So when I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna be literally asking myself this three questions. Why did I miss this trade? I'll take a screenshot. Why did I miss this trade? So I'll give myself reason. So for Microsoft, why did I miss Microsoft? Because I was not watching Microsoft. That's why I missed Microsoft. Right? I started watching a little bit later. Sweet. Now, what would you do better next time? That's a question. What would you do better next time? Next time, I probably should have paid attention to the other screen where I keep my charts. So this is where I keep my charts. Like my charts are like this. So this is Apple, Amazon, all this, and then comes this. I probably should have paid attention to the other screen where I have more charts set up, in one screen. Um, and then goes the third question, which goes is, were you distracted? And the reason why I started asking myself this question, were you distracted? Sometimes it's traders, or sometimes like when I'm on the chat, I start answering other people's questions. People ask me questions, I start answering the questions. I get distracted from the charts. So I'm not able to answer the charts. So I want to know how many times did this happen to me out of 100, from the missed trades, out of 100 missed trades, that I was actually answering questions from people and I missed a trade. I like to know the numbers. So for me right now, about 40% of the trades that I miss is because I'm answering questions in the chat. So the day this goes over 50%, literally I'm gonna stop going through the chat while I'm trading. Just just trade. So the whole thing is, were you distracted? Were you on your phone? Were you scrolling through reels? Were you doing something which you should not have been doing in the first place? So that's why you missed a trade in the first place. So ask yourself, why did you miss a trade? And if you missed a trade just because you were being scared, you didn't want to execute, that's a whole another fucking story. Then it's like, why? Oh, well, because I was scared that I might lose money. Okay, but why? Like, who is that to choose this trade is good or not? If you're following a system, who are we to choose this trade is good or not? Does it make sense? It's like going to a lawyer and lawyer giving you advice and you only picking and choosing the advice rather than listening to the whole thing. So if you miss a trade, I have sometimes missed a trade where I'm like, oh, I don't like this trade, I'm not gonna take it. But usually I regret that, and when I'm journaling my stuff, I'm like, oh my god, man, I should have taken this trade. It would have avoided so much trouble. But always, me journaling my missed trades have taught me so much and have made me such a better trader, yo. It's insane. So I think everybody here should journal. Even if you do not journal your normal trades, at least journal your missed trades, because the reason why missed trades hurt so much is super simple reason. When you take a trade, like these are the trades that are taken. These are trades that are missed. So if you take a trade, let's say on SPY, and you missed a trade, or you took this trade, and you took this trade with me, so it's so much easier to say, "Oh, I took this trade with summation and lost money on it," because you blame. When you miss a trade, you know who's to blame? Just you. You missed the trade, nobody else. Because you can't blame anybody, that's why that becomes Big problem for you mentally. I even said this in a YouTube video that I posted yesterday. Um, every time I take a loss, every time I miss a trade, every time I do anything, I simply tell myself, all right, I'll come back to this when I'm journaling. Right now, let me focus on the next thing. Right? You, if you're gonna be upset, I just go, all right, you know what? I'll worry about it when I get to it. Isn't it easy? Like when you're cleaning, this is what people do. I have somebody that I know. He has severe ADHD, right? And when he does something, he'll be in the kitchen, wiping the kitchen bench. Let's say if he thinks of something about the laundry, he stops the kitchen table straight away. He stops in the middle. He goes to the laundry. He can start doing that, and then he's like, "Oh, in the bathroom." He stops there, does the bathroom. And you know what ends up happening at the end of the day? There's nothing done. There's nothing done. It's like everything's messy. Um, so and, and he's like, OCD. It's called OCD, not that. All right, my bad. Whatever it is. But I tell myself, that usually happens when you're trying to. I'm not a. Hey, this is like I'm from India. All right, we don't have nothing like that in India. Third world countries, we worrying about fucking. Are we gonna get food tonight or not? We we're not worried about this shit. So personally, what I think is this happens because we're looking for perfection. Right? When you're looking for perfection in everything, it causes a lot of troubles, a lot of pain. And you sometimes miss a trade and you don't take a trade because you were looking for perfection in the first place, right? And perfect setups, perfect things do not exist in the real world, right? So sometimes this is what I do. Sometimes I'll be wiping down my whiteboard and I leave a little bit, literally, just to give me this dirty feeling about, oh my god, the whiteboard's still there. So I'll clean it, but I'll clean it in a way there's still a little bit I can see the white marks, the pen marks on the whiteboard. And it's I had my that friend over and he's like, oh my god, he went nuts. He had to clean it. He couldn't talk to me up until he got up and cleaned it. But I do that with myself. And when I'm cleaning the dishes, I leave like, 3 spoons lying in the sink. Um, it's just so, like slow and steady. I'm like in my brain, it's okay, even if everything is not perfect. And howsoever you deal with stuff outside trading is how your trading gonna be. Does that make sense? A little bit. It's just like mentally, because you gotta, as a trader, to make money, you have to be crazy, man. You have to be a little bit different. And so embrace it. Be a little bit different. Do things that normally people would not do. Right? Normally, people, if they're doing dishes, they will normally put all the spoons in the dishwasher. I'll leave 2 or 3 in the thing. I'm like, no problem. It's making me feel like shit right now, but I'll leave it there. And my wife don't like it, but hey, is what it is. Hey, so don't look for perfection, right? I take profits very early in the middle of nowhere, even though I do negative risk management, leaving money on the table. I basically get tensed when I'm in profit. How do I manage that? Um, all right. So understand first things first, man. Understand why the market moves. All right. The market does not move like this. If there's a level here, if there's a level here, market doesn't do, or very rarely just turns around in the middle of anywhere. All right. You know what the market loves? Market, these levels that we draw in the morning, these levels are like magnets, right? They attract the price towards them. Now, there's a reason behind it. You want to know the reason? Why did that happen? The psychological reason. So let's say you have, so let's say somebody's selling 1,000 iPhones at $500 each right here. And there's so much demand going on, and people are selling, and there's like so much demand. People want to buy thousands of iPhones. So if this is a level, that means if they're selling at 500, so much supply sitting there, that's a level. So if the demand is there, price is pushing up. What happens if there's only one person selling iPhone here, one here, one here? Wouldn't these people be like, man, you know what? Why am I selling the iPhone here? If I can just wait for 5 more seconds, I can sell at 500. Why do I need to sell at 490? You know what? Let me wait 5 more seconds. Would you do that if you selling an iPhone? Be like, you know what? No problem. Five minutes later, no stress. I'd rather sell at that price, guaranteed, right? So they go and put their selling order over there where everybody else is. So now buyers want to buy, but there's no sellers in the middle. What happens to the price? It straight away becomes that level becomes a magnet, and it goes straight there. And that's why the price starts going like this, because now the buyers, the shops, they're shopping still. So buyers are shopping, and now if the buyers have like bought everything, what happened with the toilet paper 2020? If the buyers bought everything, they go to the other store. They're like, oh, let me see if this other store have more. So you go to the other store, and then the price keeps going up. Comes to a stage where buyers are like, there's no buyers. So what happens? Now sellers are like, oh, we're gonna sell, and the price reverses. But it's just like the reason why you take profits early is one is psychological, all right, but more, as I said, 80% is system, 20% psychology. It's just your understanding or lack of understanding of price do not move in the middle of anywhere. Price moves from a level to level because of a reason. There's psychology behind it. So our goal is to understand the psychology. Why can the price go up? Why would it reverse here? Why would sellers come out of nowhere? If you were a seller, would you be like, oh, I have to get rid of it, man? You know what? I'll just, there will be some people who'll be like one or two, but big chunk will be sitting around the price in the same zone. Somebody might be sitting at 499, somebody might be sitting at 501, somebody sitting at 500, but that becomes a zone. But most of the people will be in a zone. That's why that becomes a magnet. Now, about the psychology, why do you take profits early? Maybe you're doing a big position size, man, something that you're not ready with. So the moment you see green, and or you're trading your P&L, that could be it as well. You're trading your P&L, you have a big position size, and the moment it does one tick against you, little price against you, you go from $60 to $40 green only. You're like, oh my God. It comes a little bit more down. Oh my God, only 20. And you jump out because now you were trading the P&L. Does that make sense? So it could be trading the P&L. It could be um, doing big position size. And even if you're not looking at P&L, you're calculating the number in your head. How many contracts are you in? That could be it. And the third is lack of understanding of how the market actually works, which I don't think is the case. So it definitely is either you taking a big position size and calculating the profits in your brain, or it's staring at the P&L while you're trading. It's either one of the both. All right. He said I constantly look at the P&L. Maybe that, here you go. Man, trading P&L is not the best. Not something that I recommend. And you shouldn't do it. If you want to make money, you shouldn't do it. I mean, if you don't want to make money, keep doing what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's remove the P&L column from broker, and there's no point. How do emotions like fear and greed impact investment decisions? What are the key principles of behavioral finances? You copied that from fucking some Google, all right? Um, so fear and greed, you gotta be a little bit fearful. When I say you gotta be a little bit fearful, that means so you don't think like you're invincible, like you're like, man, I can do anything. And that usually happens when people are winning for like 20 days in a row. They feel like, oh, I can't lose. And I have figured out the game. So when that's when lack of fear causes pain. So you gotta be a little bit fearful. You gotta know that at any given time, the moment you took your guard down, that's the moment when you're gonna get shot. That's the exact moment. Right? So this is fear. You gotta be a little bit fearful, otherwise you'll do dumb shit. And this is greed. Right? If you're not any like if you have to be a little bit greedy. If you're not greedy at all, you won't let your runners run. Does that make sense? If you're not letting your runners run, you do not make money. It's that simple. So you'll have to let your runners run. You have to be a little bit greedy. So what's the balance? Balance is somewhere in the middle. Balance is negative risk management, where you take half off and then leave the other half as a break even. That's where the money is. You a little bit fearful, a little bit greedy, and that's because of a little bit fearful. We take 50% off at our first level. Now, because we're a little bit greedy, we let the runners run. Does that make sense? So, how to control fear and greed? Don't try to get rid of them. You can't. You won't be able to. So, have some fear, have some greed, and that's only way. Find a balance, and the balance is usually from your negative risk management. And to know more about negative risk management, man, watch some of my YouTube videos. Um, they will help, right? Chris, how do you deal with a loss after you have had a win? That is, if you were green on the day, then you took a trade that made you red for the day. First things first, I would say, how do you know that? I personally do not know. I know, like, I have an idea that I'm green on the day. Um, because you've been winning on the days. So let's say if I have three wins and one red, I wouldn't know I'm red on the day up until actually I have closed my broker, because I only check my P&L from my phone 99% of the time. So the question is, how do you know that you're red? That means you're trading, looking at the P&L. That's why you're feeling like crappy, right? Um, I today I knew that I'm red because all three trades were red. Sometimes this happens to me where I have taken one winning trade, next trade I'm a losing trade, then again winning trade, then losing trade. I have no idea I'm green or red. I have zero clues. The only way to find out is me checking my P&L. So how do you deal with that? Is, bro, deal with it when the mark, like when you have closed your broker down. Go check on your phone. That's when I deal with it. And how do I deal with it? I simply go have a cigarette. Like, fuck it, man. Tomorrow, another day tomorrow. But if you try to deal with it when the market is open and you have broker open, oh my God, you'll deal with it the wrong way, right? And that's like dealing with force, and it doesn't work. All right, that's it. How to let your runners run rather than scalping 10 to 20% profits, killing your gains. You know the answer, bro. Negative risk management. Do you want me to break down again negative risk management? I've broken this down like 100 times so far. Maybe more. Take 50% off. So if this is your say if this is your entry at 99, next level is 100, next is 101, 102. And if you're watching a price to break out of this 99 and you're gonna jump in, let's say 20 contracts, okay, the moment it hits your first profit target, you're gonna take 50% off. The moment you take 50% off, now you could be like just in two contracts. So the moment you take one contract off or 50% off, the next price right here, the stop loss on the entry. So let's say here you entered 20 and those contracts were 120 each. By the time this hits, they're sitting at 150 each. All right. So the money that you already put in your pocket, let's say 30 bucks times 10, 300 bucks, it's already in your pocket. That money should not leave. Whatever happens, that money's in your pocket. It's yours. All right. That money is not leaving in that particular trade. So even if this trade reverses, let's say this trade starts reversing, your stop loss on these contracts is break even straight away. Put a stop loss in the system if you can. If you can't, just mentally, the moment this price of those option contracts go down to 120, you jump out. Now let's say it comes down to 125, you're still in a trade and starts going in your favor. It goes 101. So what do you do around here? If you only have one contract, say you have one contract, all right, left, because you do two contracts and you take one off here, one contract. What I want you to do is understand how this moves. So you stay in a trade up until it's making higher highs and higher lows. The moment it breaks the structure, that's when you jump out. But if you have more, if you have like, let's say 10 contracts in this example, you take five off here. Again, the stop loss is break even or break of the structure. Write this down. The stop loss is either break even of the contract right now or break of the structure, whichever happens first. Right? If the break of structure happens first, sweet. If break even happens first, sweet. It might go like this and then goes and then breaks the structure, sweet. Get out. Right? That's how you let your runners run. Has to have a system, otherwise you won't be able to. Right? How do you handle a really small account? Quick question, how do you come back? How do you handle a really small account? Depends what's the small account. It's subjective. So if you're talking about $100, $100 trading account, right? How do you handle it? You don't trade. I mean, even if the account goes 1,000% up in a day, that's still $900, and you can't do shit with 900 these days. So, and it's not gonna go 1,000% in a day. So you gotta set yourself up for success, not for failure. So go out there. It's 2020 fucking four, man. If somebody tells me, man, I don't know how to make money 2024 and all I make is $300 a fucking month, I s- I think it's a big fucking problem. I think you're not hungry enough for money. Like in trading, if you're gonna make it, you gotta be hungry. Right? You gotta be hungry enough to go figure out a way. So first thing, 2024, go figure out a way to make more money. Do whatever you have to do to bring in the money. Start trading with at least 1,000 or maybe 2,000, even better. All right, $2,000. So even 10% of that is still $200, which is still double the size of your fucking original trading account. All right, that you can do. So how do you handle a really small account? Go make more money. So it's not a really small account. Just make it a small account. All right. How do you come back after a few red days? Um, Usually it's my what I realized from my last um I had a really bad streak of losses. I think it was in June, where I was like red week after week after week. And I sat down and I tried to study my red streak. I was red, 5 days a week red. Then again, next week, 5 days a week red. Around third week, 2 weeks, every day red. And I'm losing. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, even I did a meeting with my students. I'm like, guys, I feel like I'm not the guy to give you advice. I'm sorry. I'm like going through this pain. But the total amount of money that I lost yo, this is insane. The total amount of money that I lost in 13 or 14 consistent red days, I made it all back in one day. It's about every time I have a red day, next day, it's small size up until I hit my green trade, or small size up until I. And this is what I realized this time I did was without even realizing this, I did. So after red days, my whole goal is to break the chain. So this is chain setting up of consistent red days. If you can break the chain, great. The chain's not there. Now you can start fresh. So how did I do it? I walked away with I think it was 90 or $100 green. I was green. I took the trade. I'm green. I'm like, oh my God, it feels so good. And I didn't want to take next trade because I didn't want to be red again. So I walked away. Like done. Guys, I'm out. Next day I came. Now the mindset straight away went from I have to I'm like I'm red on the day. I have to break my streak to the streak's gone. There's no such thing called streak. Let me stop. And I started making money straight away. So how do you handle it? Try to break the chain. Walk away with even with $20 green, no stress. Break the chain. All right, that makes sense, to everybody here. Yo, break the chain. Most important. All right, all right. Well, going back in time on our beginnings, what helps you most to respect your trading plan and not jump into poor quality trades just to try to recover from a loss or a lot of pain, actually. A lot of pain of me not following my plans. Bro, I didn't follow my plan for first 12 or 13 months. I didn't follow my plan. I didn't know there was a thing called plan. I just showed up and tried to fucking place a trade for first 8, 9 months. Oh, showed up. I'm like, oh, this is moving. Let me buy calls. And then it would not be moving anymore because that become the top. Somehow I was timing the top for other direction. Um, so what helped me was the day I followed my plan. I think I posted this on my Twitter once as well. Um, I was watching the market and I made my levels the night before. I made my levels for me because it's the daytime. So I sat down during the day. I had some time. So during the day I made some levels. And I wanted to make some levels just because I wanted to show my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. Like, look, babe, this is the levels and this is how it works. Da, da, da. And I was just drawing levels. Okay. Um, and she goes, why don't you write it down? How are you gonna remember this? Why don't you write it down? This is actually like legit. This is how it started. The game plan things that you know. This is how it all started. She's like, why don't you write it down? How are you gonna remember this? Because I was not even marking it on my chart. I was not even marking it on my charts, yo. You know why? Because the broker that I was using didn't have the tools to mark it on the charts. This is 2019. All right, the broker didn't have the tools to mark it on the charts. So it's just like the charts I'm watching. It's like, how are you gonna remember this? Why don't you write it down? I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I started writing it down. I wrote down 3 or 4 plays that I was watching or the names that I only knew how to trade, wrote down the levels. And when the market opened, what did I do? I looked at those levels, looked at the price, and executed. And that was my green trade, like my green day on the day. So now it just went, now I straight away realized, this is actually easy. That's how I started realizing when it's written down, when it's actually in front of you, it's so much easier. That's why even now, you guys see me when I'm in a trade, I do this. I go to the side and I go, um, right here, long position. If I'm long on a trade, I place this because the moment you can see it visually, man, it becomes so much easier to follow it. You see what I'm saying? Because I'll draw this, I'll be like, all right, this is my entry, this is my exit, this is my profit target. It becomes so much visually easier. So your whole goal is to make it visually so much easier for you to follow. And then comes the pain of you not following the plan. Gonna get to a stage where you're like, you know what, man, fuck it. It's too much. I can't handle it anymore. Right? It's like the kid touching the hot stove. He does it once and never touches it again. He's just scared of it now. So same thing. So once you realize how bad it is, and that usually happens because hindsight's 2020, you'll realize like, oh my god, man, how you used to do that. You never go back. Does it make sense, Will? So how do you do it? Write it down visually. See it on your charts visually. Keep everything visual. If you can see it, it's sweet. All right. Manpreet, how do you handle emotions when the trade you took a loss on is now moving after hitting stop loss? Sometimes stopping to watch is not an option as you might be looking for the next trade. So scrolling through it becomes circle. Next time I exit early in the trades, and um, if I exit a trade, what happens after that? I really don't care. I really don't care. Like zero. Um, the example that I would give is I had a friend of mine who broke up with his missus, who broke up with his girlfriend. And oh my God, this dude was crazy. I'm not friends with him anymore because I think he moved to Canada, but he was crazy. Why? Because I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, he was still upset, or he was upset now that she moved on and she have a new boyfriend. So he was pissed, angry, and doing this was still in India and doing threatening phone calls to the guy who she was dating. And it was sickening to fucking watch. Like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's the same thing that people do in your trading as well. So it's like that trade that you just took, it was your ex. Now what the ex do? Whoa, why do you give a fuck? Whatever happens, you got out, you followed your plan, you got out. Whatever happens, who gives a fuck? Don't be toxic. Let it go. All right. And that's literally what I think. Like, sweet. Whatever happens after I'm out, I'm out. Done. All right. That's literally it. Um, but yeah, it's super simple. Hang on, guys. Like, great point. I know, great point, right? I actually never had a problem with that. Where if I exit, whatever happens after that, I never had a problem with that. Maybe because of this instance. How is the market sentiment measures and what factors drive it? I don't know. I don't know, yo. I don't care. As long as the candlesticks are going up and down, as long as the trend is there, I'll make money. I don't care if it's a bullish sentiment, bearish sentiment, whatever the fuck it is. Um, so how is the market sentiment measured? Doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, what are some of the major mistakes you made in the early days of trading, and what your account size was when your account size was relatively small? Did you ever blow up on it? A can account that time? Bro, I blew up like 10, 15 accounts. What are you talking about? Oh my god, man, I blew up too many fucking accounts. I don't exactly remember. Um, what made you come back and how did you recover from it? I All right, it's a good question. What are some of the major mistakes I made? The biggest mistake I had was not accepting when I was wrong. Like I'll think like I am somebody who in reality I wasn't, and I have taught myself to that stage, and um, where I started believing my lie to a point where I'm like now even me having a problem accepting my truth about it on a trade, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody here does it, where you believe yourself, like manifestation turning other way around. So my biggest mistake was like just manifesting so bad that I'm making money to a point where I even when I'm losing money, I would not accept it. I'm like, that's not me. I can't do this. And then trying to revenge on a trade. That was my problem. Not walking away when I should have. Um, I'll go super small on the days when the market's moving. I'll be like, nobody goes broke taking profits. That's why I hate it so much. I will take one or two trades. I made money. I'm up 50, $100. I'll call it a day. And when I'm losing money, I will keep trading. I'm down 1,000, down 2,000. I blew my trading account. Sweet. Now I'm sitting there just like angry. So I didn't have a structure to getting out on the day. Not just getting out of a trade, but getting out on the day. Now I have a structure. 3-day trades, I'm out. Then I didn't have a structure. That was my biggest problem, to be honest. What made me come back and what made me recover from it probably was um I think the recovery started happening when I stopped thinking about recovery. When I stopped thinking about, because one of the guys that I knew, I knew he did this experiment, or not experiment. He literally, and I, oh my god, I felt sick when this was happening. He's like, oh, go get, do you have $50 in your pocket? I'm like, yeah, yeah, and he's like, all right, pass me the money, and he burnt it. He lit it on fire in my hand because we have plastic money in Australia. If freaking burns really quick, it's like it goes really really quick. Um, and that made me, oh my god, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Um, but I realized that day that once this, because that's what he goes. He goes, then there's a number on every single bill. There's a number. Once that number is burnt, it's gone from the universe. That number is gone. If you're trying to chase something which doesn't exist, where are you gonna get end up? Nowhere. Does that make sense? You can make a lot more money if you focus on it, but because you're trying to get this money back, that's why you're not moving forward. Because this money doesn't exist. All right. So how did I come back from that, man? How do I recover from it? I stopped thinking about recovery and I started thinking about, because you cannot win up until you're playing not to lose. So I started thinking about, all right, so let me consistently make money, and then CCC framework comes in where let me make money consistently. Let me make a chain of consistent money so I have confidence. Once you have all this, you start making money. And that was it. I remember my days where I legit remember my days where I'll make $20 profit. 20, 50, minus 30, 20, 50, minus 30. That's my profits. Then numbers went to 30, 80, minus 40, 50, 100, minus 50. So it automatically just winners started becoming a little bit bigger, little bit big. And that was it. It just went from me just worrying about, actually, there was a stage where I fell in love with fucking trading. I'm like, oh my God, this is so nuts. And yeah, so stop trying to come back, like make the money back, I would definitely say. And that will really, really, really help. All right, that's it, man. That's how you come back. I can't seem to bring myself out of a trade, even if I'm losing, and then my losses turn into bigger ones. Stephen. He, do we have Stephen here? Hey, do we have Stephen? Oh no, on the call right now? No. All right, bro. If you're watching the recordings, I don't think you have been in the program long enough. That's why. Let me go check. Let me go check. Hang on. Because the moment you start doing, hey, where is it? Yeah, you joined this month. Um, so that could be it. Do the module 6 at least. You will know the structure behind when to jump out. Module 6, module 12, they will really really help you out when to jump out, when to jump in, the trend, the structure. That will really really help. And that's literally the question is, you can't seem to bring yourself out of a trade because you don't know when to get out of a trade. That's why. But once you have LTP behind you, right, right, Casey, once you have LTP behind you, it becomes a little easier on the brain. Like still you gotta fight with the psychology to jump out, but then it becomes, you know what, man? All right, I know what's the right thing to do right now. And then if you do the right thing, guess what? There's a phrase in Punjabi. It goes more sugar you add to the coffee, the more sweeter you're gonna get. That means more work you put in, the more better you're gonna get. Same thing here, man. If you put salt in a fucking coffee, you're not gonna be sweet, is it? So as long as you're doing the right thing, we're gonna keep on getting better. Right? You're gonna keep on getting better. Is it say in Punjabi when I fucking forgot, man. Bro, I work with you guys. I speak in English. I'm married to English. I'm married to a white one. I talk in English. my businesses. I speak to everyone in English. I forgot. I think I'm forgetting about Punjabi at all. Like today, I left my mic on, and even at home, we don't have conversations in Punjabi. It's only English. It's like even with me and we having a conversation is only English. I forgot. Oh my god! But that's that. But did you guys see, bro? Today I fought with everybody. I made my cousin's phone call. I'm like, fuck, I couldn't help my people make fucking money because of you, motherfucker. I fought with my family because of you. You see, that's how much I love you. He's like, calm down, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, there you go. But yeah, he's like, we love you too. Nah, bro, let's go. But yeah, man. Do module 6. You will know when to jump out of a trade. Kevin, my winners are more but small. Losers are less but big. How to fix it? For next 1 month, only next month. I'll tell you a quick little example. All right, we were trying for my one of my businesses that I won. There was some stuff going on, and we oh my god, bro, we were yeah, mom gonna fix you up soon. I know she'll be here like 12 hours. Um, in one of the businesses that I owned, there was a problem that we had was the staff. There was some stuff going on with the staff. Um, we had too much stuff and it was not working. Right? We were overstaffed and we were not making money because of that. Now, not the profits, I'm talking revenue. Now you'd be like, how does that work? Because everybody's just like, oh yeah, he'll do it, he'll do it. The structure wasn't there, right? I sat down with my brother. I'm like, wait, this is what's going on. What do you think? Because my instant reaction is like, fire everybody. Like, fire everybody, start fresh. That's me. So I have to ask Wei because he thinks a little bit, he thinks a little bit better. He goes, this man goes, you know what? Let's give everybody a month break, 1 month break, and only don't give break to the two best people that you think. Like, all right, these are two best people I think. He's like, all right, let's give everybody a break then. We gave everybody a paid break for a month. Guess what happened? We doubled our revenue from the previous month. How? It's like these are the two people. These are the only two people going to handle everything. Nothing else. We doubled our revenue. So why am I telling you this? The stuff that you're saying that your losses are big, for just 1 month, you're going to do this experiment. We did this experiment and we made nuts amount of money. And this is what you're going to do. All right. Only for 1 month. Only take trades which are small patience candles. Tiny, tiny candles. Don't even look for like if there's a wick. If visually the patience candle is massive, you don't take the trade. Like visually, don't try to compare it with anything else with the risk to reward. Nah, just if visually see a patient candle small, it's a small patient candle, and you're like, oh, that's nice. Take that trade. If you can do it for 1 month, compare your results with July. Try it in August. Compare your results with July, and see which one is better. I mean, you might take, if in July you took 100 trades, you might take only 30. And then you see, out of 100 trades, I made, say, $1,000 in total. Here I took 30 and I made $3,000 in profit. Guess what? Just for 1 month, that's all you do. That's it. Compare your results because you don't know yet. Because we didn't know. So we gave everybody a month break and we took the hit for a little bit. Yeah, that means less employees. We were like, oh my God, maybe everything gonna fall. But we did the experiment and we tried and we tested and we were like, oh my God, this paid for everybody's paid break. And now what did I do? I made a phone call. I'm like, you fired, you fired, you fired, you fired, you fired. Oh, but I have family. I'm like, you should have thought about this before. Boom. Um, I'm sorry, yo, I'm sorry. I'm a capitalist. But so try this for a month and make the and compare the results and then make the tough choice. Whatever you need to do, because the numbers will be in front of you and the thing will not be a tough choice. All right. Max, um, how to better focus on consistent progress and overcome comparing yourself with others who are not on the same level on you. Try to understand what that actually means. Um, comparing yourself. You may be comparing your results with me. Let's say, someone who's 25 years old comparing his results with me. Let's say if we both had $10,000, right? Um, him and me, we both had $10,000 in total that we had. Him comparing his results with me. You know what the difference would be? Um, when I first came to this country, if that's like 18-year-old me and an 18-year-old kid, maybe better example. I had no place to go. I had no one to worry about. I had no family to answer to. I had no friends to show off to. I had no friends to answer to. Nobody was there who wanted to talk to me. So I had all the time in the world. Um, that means I have nothing to lose, right? Don't have kids, don't have a house, don't have nothing, don't have mortgage, don't have a job. I have nothing to lose. But the 18-year-old kid who's a single father at this stage, for him the money is a little bit different. He's in a different position than a immigrant kid just came from a new country, has no idea what's going on. For him, money means something else. So when you're trying to compare your results, when you try to compare yourself with somebody, this essentially what you're doing is, without realizing, you realize the age when they joined the program or what, how well they're doing in their life. But what I want you to realize is maybe they have different relationship with money, right? Maybe you have student loans and they never went to fucking school. So whatever it is, to try to think about this, because that will make it so much more easier. Because one of my students started printing money, and this is like 19-year-old kid. I'm like, how did this happen? So I have a very bad habit of asking questions. Why? Ask why. Oh, this why? How? Why? And we find out he lives with his parents. Okay, what does that mean? He doesn't have to pay any bills, no rent. Okay, who cooks? Mom cooks. Huh. So have a job? No. Who gave you the money to trade? Dad gave. Huh. There's no emotions with money. So it's not like 1,000 rupee, like $1,000 for him, yo. You know what it was? It wasn't, oh, I worked at $20 an hour. I worked freaking 50 hours to make the 1,000. He was like, hey, dad, I need 1,000. And dad gave it to him. So it was one ask. So there was no emotions. He started making money. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Then tried to ask somebody who somebody else was starting with 1,000, and he had two kids. He had the family to look after. He had two jobs. Um, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's you start understanding a little bit better. It's a relationship with money, and the relationship usually comes from how many emotions are attached with the money. So how to better focus on your consistent progress is only like half the shit that you see on Instagram is fake, right? Just understand this. Half of the shit that you see on Instagram is, bro, it's full on fake. Um, like for example, if I share some stuff on my highlights, it might look like, oh my god, right? Like on my stories, it might look just like the highlights of the day. Oh, this guy's doing this, and he's always fucking get onto something. He's always busy. He's always up to something. And while I'm sitting at home, you might feel shit about yourself. I mean, that was my highlight of the day. That's why I shared it. I go through like about 16 hours of the day. I'm sitting in front of this computer and I'm typing. It's not interesting enough for me to post. So that doesn't go on social media. Right. So the best way to consistently focus on yourself is try to get better at the craft. Worry about yourself. Go back test. Fall in love with the charts. And fuck people. Like legit. Fuck every single one of them. All right. Don't need nobody. Um Like Nipsey Hussle says, I made my first meal on my own. I don't need your help. Pretty much have that mindset. You know, keep watching charts. That's the only way. Go to the gym, go work out, worry about yourself. Put your headphones on. Fuck who who cares whatever people think. Do it. Because I would not be. I don't think if I would have left my hometown, I would be here because I knew in this country. I'm like, oh, nobody gives a fuck here. If you were born in India, man, you will know everybody gives a fuck. If you're walking out with a purple shirt, guess what? You just walked out to the mailbox. The whole town knows you wearing a purple shirt. That's so people pay attention. In Western countries, man, nobody gives a fuck. Like, who cares? So embrace it. You're like, all right, sweet. It is what it is. Nobody cares. I shouldn't care too. And just focus on yourself. Make sense? That's literally it. There's no other way. Um, so yeah. I like, oh my god, this session is diamond, right? This is good stuff. My two Jaylee, that's Jaylee. That's Jaylee. That's not Johnny, that's Jaylee. Um my two red days this week wiped out my profits from 3 days. I'm still struggling with letting my runners run. Yesterday, for example, I made around 650 on AMD puts. I should have easily pulled in over 2K on that trade with 10 contracts. Yeah. That's like um I should have picked right lottery numbers last night. I would have been worth 150 million. That's pretty much what he said. All right. There's so many examples in my journal where I bitched out and not let greed take the wheel a little bit when I should. I'm at a point right now where I feel like I'm primed for taking off. I can overcome this. One thing, it's never been so obvious to me after journaling the last few weeks. You answer this in a couple of ways. Already negative risk management, small patience candles only, which are the two things that I talked to my wife today about when I was journaling. All right, so the only thing that I see, bro, is I want you to just remember this. What you just said. I made 650 inputs. I should have made 2K. Why do I want you to remember this? The pain of you getting out at 650s, I promise you 650 didn't feel that good. But the loss that you didn't make the 2K felt bad. So um when you go through this, you're like, oh my god, I could have made 10 grand. Only if I would have just followed my plan. That was my original plan. I would have made 10K. I would have made 30K if I would have followed my plan. I want you to just be like, okay, you know what? This pain, bro, you're gonna get. I'm telling you, the pain, that little pain, gonna get to a point where you're like, I can't take it anymore. Like personally, me. That's why when my brother goes, we'll be in a trade, and he's like, oh my god, King, are you still holding it? I'm like, yeah. Um, it's just because I know if this trade goes and hits my break even, it would not hurt me at all. But if I get out of this trade now and this trade keeps going, that hurt me more. You know what I do then? I'm like, I'd rather take it at break even. That doesn't hurt me. I'll walk away. I'll be like, it was a good day. But if I jump out and I go to the gym, I come back and I see fucking AMD dump like a motherfucker, bro. You know what I feel like? I feel like shit. Right? I'm like, oh my God. Um, so for me, it is I'd rather have a break even or I'll be in a trade. Reckon. Because the pain of me not following my original plan, I know how bad it has hurt me in the past. I don't want to do that. Right, that's literally it. So just remember this and try to find peace with more with break even. It's rather be break even or break up the structure. All right. Like still, as the price is going down, you keep taking a little bit off. We should always have something, and yeah, always have something. Like Jessica is like the king of holding a fucking trade. She knows like, no, I can't do it. I can't jump out now and let this go without me. I can't. So it takes like I can't. So you find peace with it and always have some runner running. And also try to understand the psychology. If a candle is a red candle, most of the time, go on a daily chart on the charts, all right? On a super bearish day, like super bearish day, go on a daily chart and you'll see. You'll be like, oh my God, what the fuck? Let's go on AMD. On a super bearish day, price usually like a super bearish day, most of the time, price closes about low of the day, like very close to low of the day. So that means if the stock is super trendy, guess what? It is going to close somewhere around low of the day. So how do you know they're going to be low of the day? Guess what? Even if the price stayed around and chopped and that becomes low of the day, you still be green because you're deep in the money at this stage. Theta is not actually hurting you, whatever. So, and that was a realization that I had back in the day where I'm like, man, if it's that bad green or that bad red on the day, the stock, yeah, there's some wicks here. Like, look at these wicks. Of course, this one, at one stage was whole red, and then they made a wick. Then the break even looks after you. Guess your break even, you jump out. But the days they want to dump and you just jump out of because you got a $3 move and then you see it go down another 20 points. Oh my God, I can't do it. No, I wouldn't be able to. And I've taken so many trades where I'm like, I'll just call it a day and then I'll still have the trade and I'll be like, all right, sweet. Let me go to the gym. Let me do this, because I have a stop loss in the system. This is break even and I'll close around low of the day. That's it. So understand that. I You got it, man. One of my biggest struggle when it comes to respecting my stop loss is respecting my stop loss. Why? Why? What? What? One of my biggest, one of my biggest struggle when it comes to trading is respecting my stop loss. Why? Why? What? No, why? Why? Like, why is that? Oh my God, bro! God damn! Why not just type why? Why? What? Oh no! Free, motherfucker. I'm like, what? Why? What? All right. Um, Respecting your stop loss because probably not thinking about because your conviction in a trade is at a point where you're not even worried about where you're not even worrying about that a trade can go against you. But when it does, you're having a hard time closing it. So it could be a few reasons because one, you think you're Batman, where you like you can never make a mistake. So the conviction level's insane. And when somebody tells you, no, you're not a Batman, and it breaks your heart. And that's pretty much happens when it hits your stop loss, and now somebody's screaming at you that you were wrong. One is that. Second, somebody said this to me back in the day when I didn't have enough money, and I used to think like I'm this big fucking superstar. Um, he said, the money in your bank account is like a receipt. Think about it again. The money in your bank account is like a receipt of how well you understand financial literacy, how well you understand like the whole education of finances. Huh. And like, how much money do you have in your bank? Like, maybe like a couple grand. Like, there you go. So that's how much you understand about this, right? And I still believe that to be true. So if you every time this is the problem with some of my freaking family, where they think they're never wrong, but when they hate confrontation. So if I give them a call, hey man, you fucked up, motherfucker. Um, like you heard me today when my mic was left on. I was talking to my wife and I was talking to my cousin on the fucking phone. I'm like, my wife's like, who made him and who did this? I'm like, because he likes you fucking suck dick. I was yelling at my cousin. And he doesn't like confrontation. Why? He thinks he never made a mistake. Why? Because when you start living yourself to a point where it's cool to have self-confidence but not overconfidence. So it could be your overconfidence that might be getting triggered every time its stop loss is about to get hit. Does that make sense? A little bit. So you feel a little bit like, man, I'm wrong. And that's why I think personally trading is difficult for so many people because most of the people on this planet hate confrontation. Somebody coming up to their face and telling them you're wrong. They can't take it. But trading, the market does it to you every single day. And now you have to just find peace with it. You're like, okay, oh, you're wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. Okay. Hey, fellas, you guys do it with your wives, right? My wife says, and my wife's upset, and she's like, "Oh, you're wrong." I'll be like, "Yeah, all right. I'm sorry." That's me. Like straight away. I'm like, "I'm sorry," because I don't want to go through the fucking whole drama again. Like, sweet, I'm sorry. Let me have my beer. Fuck. Um, same thing, pretty much what I do in my trading as well. Hits my stop loss. I'm like, all right, I don't want to go through the pain. Same thing, yo. Does that make sense? A little bit. Everybody, let me know. Type in the chat. It's the same thing. How you? It's just about not going through the pain, not going through the drama. What I want you guys to realize, all right? It's just not worth it. Oh fuck, man. I want to just enjoy my beer. Fuck. Same thing in trading. I just want to enjoy my trading day, man. Don't worry about it. How do you deal with situations where the candle hits for a split second past your take profit level, and then go back in your stop loss even before you react? With great difficulty sometimes, not gonna lie. Where I'm about to jump out and I'm like, I'm about to jump out, and then the stock has already made a decent move. Um, but at the end of the day, man, even if I was up, let's say 15%, and now I'm up only 4%, I still take profits at that level. It's just it is what it is. But it went to my level. I should have been ready. Before I pressed the button, it returned. That means the buyers at that point was super freaking strong. It bounced off my profit taking level. That means the buyers at that point, let's say if this is the level, it came down, quickly reversed. I don't want to wait, bro. This is one thing that people go, oh, let me see if it comes down again. If it bounced heavy, there's a reason why it bounced heavy. Why was that a support level in the first place? Because the other buyers were there in the past. Why did it bounce so quick now? Because the other buyers are there right now. Does it make sense? So you should be like, oh, buyers are there. Jeez, I need to jump out. So you jump out. Even if now, who cares that you were up 10% here and now you're down 5%? Sweet, it is what it is. I'd rather be at 5% than 50%, right? Um, that's a mindset that I think of. Like, if the price rejects off a critical level really quick, there's a reason why it happened in the first place, why I rejected in the first place. Now, do I want to know the reason? No. Let me just jump out. No problem. It is what it is. All right. So that's that, bro. He said today happened on with me on Spy. Yeah. Um. Hey, I don't know how I feel about the daily bell curve because we cannot control the wins losses for any trades that we are taking. What I mean is, you win on first trade entering a small portion, and lose on the second entering a large portion. What I feel more sense is entering a small portion when the risk is high. Yeah, and bigger portion when the risk is small. Let me know what you think. Um, I've tried them, and it's very subjective when the risk is small, when the reward is big, because it's super subjective. Some days you have to jump out earlier because that day there's not enough momentum on the day, but you thought it was like super small risk, but then it or just gives you full small reward as well. Then you take a big loss. Um, like what I mean by that is the move happened like this. You're like, oh my god, this is such a small risk. Let me jump in. You jumped in, and then this happens. Now because your position size was big, then it ruins you mentally for the rest of the day. What I like to do with the bell curve, man, this is what I like to do. So I don't go first trade small and then super big. So if my first trade, let's say, is um, a win of 20%, whatever, right? If I do a small position size. Next trade is a little bit bigger, not massive. So that means if I'm doing 5 contracts, for example, next trade probably be 7, just as an idea, right? If that's a win, then I have a cushion. I think of it like a cushion. I don't think of it like a win. Does that make sense? So if I made a little bit of money, that's a cushion for me on the day. That means if I fall, there's something to protect me. Then if I win this as well, then I have this. Then bigger cushion for the next trade, which becomes a bigger cushion. Now what happens is first time you take a trade and next trade you lose money on. Now you might be red on the day, but you will not be massive red. The reason? Simple. Why? First trade was small, second trade was a little bit bigger. not to a point where it will hurt you so much financially. And you also have a cushion for the from the first place anyway. So two contracts, you go three. Three contracts, you go five. Five contracts, you go eight. Up until you're winning. The moment you take a loss, guess what? You take a loss, you come back to this again. Come back to the small up until you get the green trade again. So if the second trade I lose, let's say the second trade I have a red, I go back to the small position size up until I get the green trade again. The moment I get the green trade, now I'm back up to this point, or back up to back up in the curve again. Slowly and slowly, man. When you have more cash in your trading account as well, it can become easier. Initially, it's tough, I know, but just make a habit of first trade of the day, super small. If you can't follow this, man, bell curve, don't worry. But first trade of the day, you need to follow this definitely. First trade of the day, take super small. It'll save you. It'll save you a lot of times. Don't if you don't want to follow bell curves, we at least do this. First trade of the day is super small, and then you do what you want to do later on in the day. It's easy. Extra credit quotient for this call, if you want to go over it. On the 2 minute chart at 10 to, there's a beautiful base A for puts on SPY. It just made a new low on the day, and daily chart was super bearish. I want to take puts off the candle, but I didn't today. Right? SPY, is it? A 2 minute chart at 10:02. All right, first, why are we watching? Oh, two candles. Okay, after 10. Um, I wanted to take puts in the candle, but I didn't because I am sticking to the time frame system for my entries. Yes. However, I have seen great plays out of multiple times right at the time frame switch, but I never enter because I don't want to stray from the system. Yes. I'm wondering how strict you would say the time frame switch should be. Um, I personally love it because I have the statistics, right? Because I see the numbers, I see the data. There was a time a few months ago where I was like, guys, we need to watch 2 minute and 5 minute chart as a confluence. Remember everybody? I was like, we're gonna watch 2 minute and 5 minute as a confluence. If on a 5 minute chart we get a nice candle, on a 2 minute chart we play together and we try to find the confluence for better entries. But what basically happens, man, Johnny, if you're trading for a while, the question that you just asked me, man, this is a good question because you will change the system a little bit to your needs. My brother doesn't trade the exact same system, makes money. But what happens with somebody who's starting out fresh? He's starting out, he sees 1 day, 2 days, he changes the whole system. Oh, let me change this, let me change this. Comes to a point where the things that actually make a system is not there anymore, and hence the whole thing fails. I'll give you an example. One of the dudes that I know, he bought this company, and it was like a betting company, like they did giveaways and stuff in Australia. Anyway, he bought this company for big fucking money, and they had like total 10 or 12 systems that made them total money. Okay, 10, 12 systems that made them the. It was a business. Those little things were the business. Anyway, um, he took over different management, one or two systems change, sweet. Within like I think 2 or 3 years, the business started losing money. And this is a business that was consistently pulling easy cash flow. It was a subscription based business, easy cash flow. What started happening was, and then he's like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" Full on going through. They were able to turn the business around, but you know what they realized? They realized was slowly and slowly, not straight away, slowly and slowly. What got to a stage where one day they fixed this. So out of 12, there were 11 systems left, the original systems. And then they're like, oh, because of this, the chain reaction are done 2 months later. There's two more systems that needed to be replaced. They're like, what that means is, oh, we already have an email set up, everything ready. Let's change the email systems to this. We made a little changes to emails. Let's say, for example, email marketing. Or email marketing changed. Let's change the landing pages, which were already working. And that changed. That changed. All right, that changed. We need to change a little bit of system because a little bit of pricing structure because we're not making enough money. Hey, that this is the money that we need to stay afloat. No, we're not making enough. Let's change the pricing structure. So the current subscribers are like, oh my God, why do I have to pay extra for? No, fuck it, I'll go somewhere cheaper. Got to a stage where all these 12 systems are gone. They don't even realize that they have changed everything. They're thinking they're just making the system better without realizing they're making the system actually worse. The system already makes money. That's the system that they bought. So this the traders make this mistake where I'll give you a system that works. You change one thing that leads to a chain reaction for the another, for the another, for next, for next, for next. Comes to a stage where you're like watching three different time frames at this stage, 10 minute, 5 minute, 2 minute, and you're just like hunting for plays on each. And that one bad day, I'd rather have you miss that trade what you just said than on one bad day you hunting for play and you take a play on a 2 minute chart at 11:58 p.m. And then that becomes a nail in the coffin and it goes against you fully, right? And you lose. So it's okay to miss couple plays. That's a part of the system. Saying no. It's the woman in the red dress in the Matrix movie, right? It's okay to say no to some things. And it's only shiny object syndrome. But overall, if you stick with the system, yeah, you might miss a play or two here, but you're going to catch a lot more plays overall. Otherwise, on a one bad day, you might make decent money, but on one bad day, you will have, because you start hunting for plays and you don't realize you have changed the whole system without realizing it over time. And then you know what happens. Not you, but someone else who might do this, and they go in some other Discord and they're like, "Fuck Sumesh, try this stuff. It doesn't work." But it's not that. It's just, it's just slowly and slowly got to a stage where system has changed so much. It's not even my system anymore, right? So that's why I say, cool to miss a trade. Just, um, just don't, you know, don't do too much editing. Don't, yeah, a little bit, no problem. Don't do too much. Um, Easy. That was me, just few months of trading, just all over the fucking place, right? Yo, we built everything around LTP. What if the market makers in this loophole patch it? Well, this is price action. You can't. What? Yeah, they'll have to shut down the to patch this, man. They'll have to literally close the candlesticks. Like they'll have to shut down the candlesticks. You can't do it. So it will. Do we have a backup plan? Nope. As long as the candlesticks are there, it'll be all right. It'll be cool. So yeah, this is a good stuff. This is long, hey, went hour and a half. I just wanted to, fix up your mindset. So should we post this on YouTube or too much sauce? Too much sauce. Hey, YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you better motherfucker subscribe. All right. And that's it. Yo, that's all. That's all, guys. This is good stuff, and we answered some questions. And go if I post this on YouTube, make sure you go rewatch this one or two times. Take notes because I see a lot of views. Just look at my face that you were not taking notes. Take notes. These were really good questions. Make me fucking think. Now I have a headache. Um, so take some notes. All right, that's all, yo. I love you all. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Don't do no dumb shit. All right, I'm out. Goodbye.